If you're over 70, there are 8 daily habits that may seem harmless, even comforting, but they could be silently pushing your blood pressure into dangerous territory. And here's the kicker. These aren't the usual suspects, like salty snacks or too much stress. I'm talking about habits inside your own home. In your bathroom, your kitchen, even that favorite recliner you love. I'm Dr. John Maxwell. I've spent 38 years as a geriatric physician, walking beside thousands of older adults just like you. I've seen how the little things, brushing teeth at the wrong time, skipping breakfast, holding in urine, can make a big difference when it comes to heart health and blood pressure. And habit 6? It's something most seniors do every single day. And when I discovered what it was doing to their blood pressure, I'll admit, it even shocked me. So before you brush today off as just another day, stick with me, because these 8 subtle choices could either protect your heart or quietly chip away at your health. But here's the good news. Every one of them is changeable, starting now. Let's begin. 1. Skipping breakfast or eating it too late. Now let's talk about one of the most overlooked and misunderstood daily habits I see in my older patients. Skipping breakfast or delaying it until noon. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. Doc, I'm just not hungry in the morning. I like to wait until later to eat. And I get it. When you've lived decades listening to your body, it's easy to trust that instinct. But here's what your body isn't telling you, especially after 70. By the time you open your eyes, your body's cortisol, your natural stress hormone, is already on the rise. That's part of your circadian rhythm or internal clock. Now imagine throwing fuel on that fire by not eating. When there's no food to stabilize you, your body amplifies the stress signals. And this can spike your blood pressure, often before you've even left the house. So no, skipping breakfast isn't harmless. And no, black coffee alone doesn't count. What I recommend is simple, and it works. Eat a balanced, low-sodium breakfast within an hour of waking. Something like oatmeal with chia seeds and a few blueberries, or a slice of whole-grain toast with a boiled egg. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it does have to be intentional. Because when you eat early, you send a calming message to your body. You're safe, you're nourished, you can relax. And that one small habit, it can help set the tone for steadier blood pressure all day long. 2. Taking over-the-counter pain meds too often. Let me ask you something personal. How often do you reach for ibuprofen, naproxen, or even a cold medicine, just to take the edge off a nagging ache or joint stiffness? You're not alone. Many of my patients keep a bottle in their nightstand. It's just over the counter, so it must be safe, right? But here's what most people, even some doctors, don't talk about. Medications like ibuprofen, Advil, and naproxen, Aleve, belong to a class called NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And while they may offer short-term relief, they also do something else. They can constrict your blood vessels and cause your body to retain fluid, both of which can raise your blood pressure over time. So while you think you're easing pain, you might actually be creating a silent pressure buildup inside your arteries. And that makes your heart work harder every single day. Now, I'm not saying you can never use them, but if you're taking these meds more than twice a week, especially without your doctor knowing, it's time for a medication checkup. Because in my experience, there's often a better way: physical therapy, low-impact movement, even natural anti-inflammatories that don't come with the same vascular risks. Your heart's been carrying you for 70+ years. Let's not weigh it down with something so avoidable. 3. Using the toilet immediately after waking. Here's something you probably do every single morning without a second thought. You wake up and immediately rush to the bathroom. Totally normal, right? But after 70, it's actually not so safe. See, I had a patient, a retired school teacher named Martha, who kept getting dizzy in the mornings. One day, she nearly collapsed on her way to the bathroom. When I asked her what her routine looked like, she said, "Doc, I just get up and go. I don't have time to sit around. Nature's calling." But here's the hidden danger behind that reflex. When you go from lying down to standing quickly, your blood pressure drops suddenly. That's something called orthostatic hypotension. Your body then panics and overcorrects, shooting your pressure back up again, sometimes dangerously so. Add the urge to urinate, which stimulates the vagal nerve, and your cardiovascular system is caught in a tug of war. That means lightheadedness, sudden pressure surges, and yes, even falls, strokes, or fainting spells. It's one of those risks no one talks about because it feels so routine, but for older adults, that first minute out of bed could be life-changing. Here's what I tell every senior patient, including Martha, who's now doing just fine. When you wake up, sit at the edge of your bed for 30 to 60 seconds. Take a few deep breaths. Let your blood pressure adjust gradually, then stand, slowly, and walk to the bathroom. This small pause might just prevent your next fall, or worse, because at your age, it's not just about moving quickly, it's about moving safely. 4. Napping too long in the afternoon. Let's talk about one of the sweetest pleasures of retirement. That quiet afternoon nap, just after lunch, maybe with a little breeze coming through the window. I'll be honest with you. I love a nap myself, and for many older adults, it feels like a well-earned reward after decades of hard work. But here's what I've seen too many times in my practice. That 1-hour nap turns into 2 or more, and suddenly you're wide awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling, while your blood pressure quietly climbs. You see, long naps, especially those lasting over 60 minutes, can throw off your body's internal clock. They disrupt your sleep-wake rhythm, which in turn interferes with your nighttime cortisol cycle. And guess what happens when cortisol, your body's natural stress hormone, rises in the evening? Your blood pressure follows it. This is what I call the blood pressure bounce effect. It's a gentle habit we trust, but behind that cozy blanket could be a sleeper villain, raising your risk overnight. So here's the golden rule I share with my senior patients. And I even wrote it on a sticky note for my own mother. Keep your nap under 30 minutes. Midday. Ideally between 1 and 3 p.m. Just enough to refresh, not reset your internal clock. That little change can help you fall asleep easier at night, wake up with a more stable pressure in the morning, and feel more energized overall. Remember, sleep is medicine, but even medicine needs the right dose. 5. Eating reheated starches, like rice or potatoes. Here's a little question for you. What's in your fridge right now? Maybe a leftover baked potato? A container of rice from last night's dinner? Seems harmless, right? After all, you're saving money, reducing waste, even being practical. But here's what most seniors don't know. That simple act of reheating rice or potatoes can trigger something that may be quietly elevating your blood pressure. When starchy foods like white rice or boiled potatoes are cooked, cooled, and then reheated, they go through a chemical shift. They become resistant starches, which don't break down the same way as freshly cooked versions. Now here's the twist. For some older adults, these reheated starches can cause an unexpected spike in blood sugar. And when blood sugar spikes, blood pressure can follow, especially in seniors who are already a bit insulin resistant, which, let's face it, is most of us after 65. It's a hidden trigger I've found in dozens of my patients' food journals, and most were shocked when I pointed it out. So what's the solution? When you can, eat rice or potatoes freshly cooked, or if you need to store them, try eating them cold in a salad, like a chilled potato salad with olive oil, or rice tossed with greens and lemon. That way, you avoid the reheat-triggered sugar spike while still enjoying the foods you love. Because the goal isn't to fear food, it's to understand how it interacts with your body and make gentle shifts that protect your heart. Exclamation. 6. Holding in urine for too long. Lyclamation. This one might feel a little private, maybe even a bit embarrassing to talk about. But I promise you, it's far more common than most people admit. Let me ask, have you ever found yourself holding it in? Not because you wanted to, but because the bathroom felt too far, or you didn't want to make yet another trip? You're not alone. In fact, many seniors try to train their bladders to hold more, thinking it's helping. But the truth is, it's not just uncomfortable. It could be quietly raising your blood pressure. When you hold urine for long periods, The bladder stretches and sends stress signals through your autonomic nervous system. Your body perceives this as internal pressure, and in response, your systolic blood pressure, the top number, can rise. Worse, chronic holding can irritate the bladder wall, cause low-grade inflammation, and even affect kidney function over time. And I've seen this pattern across the board: men, women, active seniors, even those who don't struggle with mobility. One of my patients, Harold, a former Navy man in his 80s, told me, "Doc, I just didn't want to keep bothering my wife to help me up every hour." But once we adjusted his routine and added simple assistive tools, not only did he feel better, his blood pressure dropped by 8 points. So here's what I recommend. Aim to use the bathroom every 2 to 3 hours, even if the urge feels small. This helps regulate pressure, protects your kidneys, and avoids sudden spikes that can occur when you hold it too long. This isn't about inconvenience. It's about honoring your body's signals and giving it the care and rhythm it deserves. 7. Using cold water for morning showers. Now this one might surprise you, especially if you've been trying to toughen up your mornings. Cold showers. They're all the rage, right? Supposed to wake you up, boost circulation, sharpen your mind. The top number can rise. And for younger folks, that might be just fine. But after 70, it could be doing more harm than good. I had a patient, Ron, 74, retired gym teacher, who told me proudly, "Doc, I start every day with an ice-cold shower. Been doing it since I was 40. But lately, he was feeling jittery. His blood pressure was unpredictable, and his heart rate would spike without warning. Here's why. When you step into a cold shower, your body reacts instantly. Your blood vessels constrict, especially those near the skin, in a process called vasoconstriction. This sudden narrowing raises your vascular resistance, which can lead to a quick blood pressure spike. For younger arteries, that's often manageable. But for seniors, especially those already managing hypertension or cardiac risks, it can be a shock to the system, quite literally. So while cold showers may sound invigorating, they might be quietly straining your heart. My advice? Switch to a lukewarm or gently warm shower, especially in the morning. It helps your blood vessels stay relaxed, your heart rate stay steady, and your body ease into the day instead of jolting into it. Remember, energy isn't about shock. It's about rhythm, breath, and giving your body the kind of start it can trust. 8. Watching or reading the news before bed. Now let me ask you something honest, and I ask this with no judgment at all. What's the very last thing you do before going to bed? For many of my senior patients, it's turning on the late-night news or scrolling headlines on their phone. It feels like a habit, or maybe even a ritual. I just want to stay informed, Doc, catch up on the world. But here's what I want you to understand. That simple act, watching the news before bed, could be quietly robbing you of rest and spiking your blood pressure when your body needs peace the most. When we consume news, especially at night, the stories are often urgent, intense, even tragic. Your brain doesn't just watch, it reacts. Your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, lights up. It signals a stress response, releasing adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure stays elevated, sometimes for hours. And even if you fall asleep, your body is still running in the background like a computer left on, never quite entering deep recovery. So while you think you're winding down, your nervous system is being emotionally hijacked. And night after night, this creates a dangerous cycle. Poor sleep, higher morning pressure, less resilience, more emotional sensitivity. Instead, here's what I recommend, and it's helped hundreds of my patients sleep better, feel calmer, and lower their blood pressure over time. Listen to soft music. Write 3 things you're grateful for in a journal. Read a comforting, familiar book. Try 5 minutes of gentle breathing or prayer. These are not distractions. They're medicine for the mind, the heart, and the pressure within. Because at the end of the day, your heart doesn't need more headlines. It needs peace. Conclusion. So here's the truth I want you to take with you today. At 70 and beyond, your body becomes more sensitive, more finely tuned to things that once felt minor, even invisible. Those little habits, the ones we barely think about, they carry more weight than ever before. But here's the beautiful part. You're not powerless. Every one of these habits you've just heard about, is something you can change. Not tomorrow, but right now, today. Because these aren't just warnings, they're invitations. Invitations to slow down, to be gentle with yourself, and to choose each moment with wisdom and care. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 8 habits surprised you the most? Was there one that made you think, I never knew that, maybe it's time for a change? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to hear. A small spark that lights the way for another heart. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. Take care of yourself, your heart, your mind, your life. I'm Dr. John Maxwell. Until next time, be well.